Today's guest, David Driscoll, head coach of football at Dighton Rehoboth, head coach of softball at Dighton Rehoboth, longtime teacher of history at Dighton Rehoboth, and also great athlete at Somerset High School, class of 1972. Student, scholar, gentleman, athlete, teacher, coach, mentor, and of course, husband, father, community activity involved in his lifetime here in Somerset. We're very fortunate to have a great man with us today, Dave Driscoll.
Bob, thanks for having me, and thanks for that great introduction.
You deserve every word, Dave.
Yep.
You've been a terrific role model and a great diplomat for an ambassador for all that's good in education and sports at the high school level.
Well, it's certainly been a great run for me at Dighton Rehoboth. Very fortunate to get the head football job 31 years ago, and I've just had some great kids, got to work with some outstanding coaches, and as you know in sports, it's just a beautiful thing when the chemistry comes together and everybody buys into the same thing, and I've been very fortunate to have that happen quite a few times. In addition, I later on picked up softball, and kind of by accident, but for 17 years I've been the softball coach there. So it's been a great, every year I look forward to the fall and the spring, and it's just been wonderful. The girls have been equally exciting for me as far as the way they play hard, and they wear the colors on their sleeve, and they're just very proud of it. So it's been great for me.
Oh, that's terrific. In today's world, Dave, it seems to be easier to have a softball team emerge year after year than it is to have a football team, because some years the number of recruits in football is down.
Well, I really give the girls credit. I'm going to take the positive side here. They are very dedicated. They work very hard year-round, play on very good travel teams that go all over the country, receive excellent instruction. So from a very young age, they take it very seriously. And I inherit that, and I'm the beneficiary of that. The pitchers have pitching coaches, and they're very, very well prepared. At the other side, football is kind of a game that you can't do yourself. You can't so much practice it in the backyard. You can throw a little, but the actual mechanics of the game is very much a team game, and that's why I like it. I like it the most. It is probably the most demanding game. It's the most physical game. And it's just not for everyone. So I think you're really more at the beck of who you have on any given year. And the teams that we've had that have been great have, it's been almost like a clique or a family, and the parents are very involved. And you have 15 to 20 kids in grade 9, and you can see the freshman team is going to be very good, and they kind of stick together for 4 years. The likelihood of that happening isn't as good as having softball, because in football you need 30 to 35 kids that are committed, whereas softball you don't need as many, and they can be from 4 different classes, where football you just have to pay your dues as a freshman, a sophomore, and pretty much play as a junior and a senior.
Well, that's interesting. We might just turn a few pages in your career. We go back to perhaps when you were 14 or 15 years old, and we have some photos here of Somerset High School junior varsity team. You were one of my players in 1969, quarterback and captain. In this visual, we have the defensive captain, linebacker Charlie Strickland, and Alan Sylvia, who was offensive guard, was very good. Yep. And then we have a team picture of sophomores only. I believe about 25 players in that picture. Right. Somerset was blessed with an awful lot of candidates for football, so much so that head coach, the late great Jim Sullivan, created a separate sophomore team so that they could get the value of individual attention in the form of their practices during the week, because he had 40 juniors and seniors whom he had to coach and prepare for Saturday's game. What to do with the sophomores became a problem. So he asked that I be their coach and take them on road games and home games on Mondays and prepare them during the week to keep them interested in football. So we always had about between 30, 35, and some years 40 sophomores.
Yep.
So that's what this picture
Right.
series is about in junior varsity football.
Well, as I recall, that year was an undefeated season, and it was just a magical year, and we were guided by a great coach, Bob Souza.
Thank you.
And you know, I've coached for many years, and undefeated seasons do not come along very often. So it was a very special year. We had a dedicated group, and I agree with you wholeheartedly about keeping the sophomores together. And on game day, we'd pick up a few juniors to fill the roster out. But it was excellent, and fond memories of that team in '69.
And then we have junior varsity baseball. You and the late Raymond LaPointe, who were captains of that team, and I were going over ground rules prior to the game. They cut the umpires out of this.
Yep.
And then we have a team picture of the junior varsity, which had its own field with its own groundskeeper and equipment ready at a moment's notice. There was never a puddle, never a pebble
there
on
wasn't.
historic Pottersville field.
Right. That JV baseball was absolute experience, and those that know Somerset, it's about I guess maybe half a mile from the high school or more. I don't exactly know, but we had to sprint out of the locker room, whether it was practice day or game day, and get down there and be in our stretch lines ready to go for Coach Souza. And as I recall, that was an awesome season. I believe we were 19-1, and we just had a great baseball experience, and had an awful lot of fun. And I grew up with all those kids, and it was a ball.
Just before we switch to Amherst here, I'd like to mention you played for two great varsity coaches, Somerset, both deceased. The late, great Jim Sullivan coached
Right.
you,
Yes.
quarterback in football in the junior year.
Right.
That was Jim's final
Right.
game in football, that Thanksgiving Day game.
Right.
And the following year, Ray McDonald, who had
Right.
replaced Jim, Ray has since passed away.
Right.
And he was a coach at Brown University, put in a whole new offense for
Right.
you,
Right.
you know, with schematic pass patterns, and
Right.
he was more of a throwing instructor, offensive person, rather than Jim, who believed in the ground game,
Right.
plays setting up one,
Right.
setting up another.
Right. I really benefited by being coached by both of those gentlemen, and Coach Sully was a great communicator. I just thought he could reach any kid, no matter whether you were in the honors class or whether you really didn't care to come to school at all. I just thought he was great, and he could get his message across with everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed playing football for him, and in baseball, I mean, he was such a student of the game, and absolutely his part that he thoroughly loved was hitting. And he would take untold hours and explain to you how you hit an inside pitch, an outside pitch, a curveball. And having been around both sports for a long time, pretty much everything he said still holds true today. So he was a tremendous mentor for me. Ray was a man of passion, and he put everything he had. I was fortunate to be coached in basketball by him also, and he worked us to a team. He had us all peaking at the right moment, and he was just had a passion for all the games, and I like to bring that to my coaching too. So I learned from two great gentlemen.
That's terrific. I know that he had the films. Ray was your football coach senior year, had the films ready for Amherst,
Right.
but he could not go because he was coaching basketball.
Right.
And I know I went with your dad
Right.
with the films all
Right.
broken down and what you would specialize in.
Yeah.
T-formation quarterback, sprint out passing,
Right.
pocket passing,
Right.
also bootlegging
Yeah.
opposite the play.
Right.
Terrific breakdown of the films, and
Yeah.
I'm sure Coach Austin Darp enjoyed the films immensely.
Well, I mean, I was given a great opportunity to play quarterback at Amherst College, and it all started with that, analysis from Somerset. So it was great, and I was able to get, and run many of the plays that, we had in high school, the bootlegs that you talk about, and the waggles, and sprint out passing, and so I was well prepared from Somerset to play in college.
Oh, that's great. We have a few slides here of Amherst Originally, I guess you were entering. Now this is the team photo, but
I was a junior in that photo.
okay. But and Coach Austin Darp
Is not in the picture.
is not.
No,
He was a
no.
former NFL player with the New York Giants, the football Giants, defensive back. I saw old black and white films of his prowess as a tackler
Right.
against the run, coming up to meet the run, and also on the pass. I saw a game in which he broke up several passes from the great Sammy Baugh of the Redskins.
And I believe one of his teammates was Tom Landry, the coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And Jim also was a kick returner.
Okay,
And he did
good.
that for the Giants also.
Wow.
So he had great pedigree with the NFL, but loved the small college atmosphere. If you were in his office, it would be routine for Tom Landry to call, or Don Shula to call, or people like that. He was so well respected. As a result, there were many Amherst players that were not drafted, but were signed by the NFL and became great stars.
Wow.
Doug Swift played on the undefeated Dolphin team, I believe it was in '72.
Right.
And Gene Fugit, these guys are just before me, played tight end for the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins.
Sure.
And then when I was there, Freddie Scott, wide receiver, played 11 seasons with the Baltimore Colts.
Very
and
quick.
his final season was with the LA Express with the quarterback Steve Young.
Oh.
So these guys, and then I also played with one other player, Sean Clancy, who played with the Miami Dolphins for 5 years, primarily as a special teams player, but also as a linebacker, backup linebacker. So small college football, but guys were sent to the NFL and had great careers.
With great education, too.
Yes, yes.
If they were injured or incapacitated, they
Right.
could fall back on their education for life.
Right.
Amherst did provide one of the classiest educations ever.
It was small classes, and you knew everyone. The professors knew everyone, and best part about it was you met people from all over the world, all over the country, that you never would have met before. So that was really special.
Did one of the Shula boys play with you at Amherst?
No,
No, they went where?
they went to Dartmouth.
Dartmouth with
yes.
another
Yes.
Somerset quarterback,
Right, Rick Stafford.
Okay, for some reason I had the one Shula boy with you and one at Dartmouth, but
No.
incorrect in that.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
thanks
Yes.
for straightening me out.
No problem.
All right, now we're going to baseball at Amherst, which was quite a sport also.
College baseball is the greatest sport. If you have an opportunity to play college baseball, I mean, football is my favorite, and it is the most intricate game, and I think it's the most interesting game. But baseball in college is just so much fun. You take a spring trip to Florida. We would go to 12 to 14 days to Florida and play against great competition, University of Tampa, South Florida, Eckerd College, Rollins, Stetson, and just have a wonderful, dreary, snowy, rainy Western Massachusetts in March, and you're in Florida and it's 85 degrees, and it was just unreal. And when we came back in the day when I played, there were divisions weren't as stringent, but we played UMass and Holy Cross and BC. And so it was just kind of, you just played the schools that were near you. So I had a great experience. And in baseball, many guys were drafted and played professional baseball. So it was a wonderful experience. The coach, Bill Thurston,
I was just going to ask you to
was-
talk about Bill Thurston.
was and still is regarded as one of the greatest pitching coaches in America. He was very high up in the Coaches Association for the NCAA. When Australia a while back wanted to start a Olympic baseball team, he went to Australia, took a sabbatical in the mid-1980s, and he started the Australian baseball team. So that's the kind of guys that I was coached by. I also played with Dave Jouse, who for years was with the Red Sox and was the bench coach for the Red Sox, and he was with the Mets and the Dodgers when Gritty Little had the job with the Dodgers, and right now he's with the Pittsburgh Pirates as one of their top scouts with the Pirates. So he was from Chicago, Illinois, and a great
His dad was a great sports writer.
Bill Jouse from the Chicago Tribune.
Right.
He used to be on that sports show with all the old timers
Yeah,
on
it was great.
Nesson.
I used to watch that all the time.
That was his dad, and Dave was a great fielding shortstop, and just had a passion for baseball. You knew he was probably going to be in Major League Baseball somehow.
One other, how about Dan Duquette?
Dan Duquette came the year I left, so I did not exactly overlap with him. I've met him, at functions and talk with him, but he came the year after I left, so he's exactly 4 years younger than me. So
Now, did he play both sports at?
he did, and he was a much better football player than he was a baseball player. They said he was an
strong.
animal as a inside linebacker.
Right, I could believe
In
it.
baseball, he was okay, and but a lot of he's from Dalton, Mass, who had many fine baseball players. A lot of guys I played against at UMass, pitchers, were from Dalton, Mass. So
Okay, and now he's back in baseball with the Orioles.
he's the general manager of the
Right,
Orioles
he'll
now.
do well
Yes.
there. If
Oh, he
they'll
sure
spend
will.
money. And
Sure.
Showalter's the manager, so
Right.
they'll work well together.
He'll do a fine job. Yes.
We're going to Dighton Rehoboth football 1981, if you could just
Sure.
point out to the viewers.
This is myself here. This is Dave Morgado. This is the original staff when I was hired many years ago. Dave's now the head coach at Case High School, and he's been the head coach of Apponequet, Seekonk, and Durfee also. And the gentleman on the far left is Fred Hallow. Fred was a great player in Rhode Island, all-state player at East Providence. He also played at Columbia, and he coached with me for 3 or 4 years early on. Left for a while and then came back towards the end of his career. And this gentleman is John Swachenko. And John came in the area for 3 or 4 years when his wife was a professor at UMass Dartmouth. And John was an absolutely great football coach, but came from a very fine basketball family. 4 brothers and himself were all basketball legends in Connecticut. And he's back in Connecticut now coaching basketball and football.
Oh, that's
So
great.
that was the first team, and
30 years ago.
31.
31
Yep,
years ago.
31 years ago. Yep. Yep.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So this next picture is from the 1996 Super Bowl. That unquestionably was a memorable day, but more importantly, it was a memorable year. That group of kids was just the epitome of a team. Just a quick history. In 1995, we played Wareham, and they had a quarterback you may have heard of, Stephen Cooper,
I do.
who plays linebacker for the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
And Stephen and his Wareham team beat DR in the first game of the year. And back in this time, if you didn't win your league, you could not go on. So we went on to win 10 consecutive games. They won 10 consecutive games. They were 11-0, we were 10-1. We didn't even get to go to the playoffs. We got to go nowhere. So that's a system that I think the state coaches were trying to work on. The following year, we also led off with Wareham. It was Cooper's senior year, and we returned the favor. We beat them, and then we went undefeated. They only had that one loss, and they had to sit and watch us play.
That's the South Coast Conference.
Well, yeah, it was South Coast Conference Championship. And then we were paired up with North Andover, who was undefeated and was one of the top teams in the state. And we defeated them in the 1996 Super Bowl 22-0. And played right at Dighton Rehoboth High School, because that was the in-between period between when they were having different problems getting sites as at college and so on. At that time, there weren't that many turfed fields, so they just decided to play them at whichever league had the right to have the home team. That's where they played it. So it had snowed 8 inches the night before. And those of you that know our field, we have one of the worst fields around. And I say that simply because it's true. And and we had an incredible amount of community support come out starting at 2 a.m., shoveling the field, plowing the field, and we were able to play the game. And as you can see, it's a very wintry background, but we ended up totally dominating the game. We ended up with the ball on the 1-yard line going in. We took a knee. We could have scored another touchdown, but it ended up 22-0, which was great.
It was enough.
20. Hey, you win, you win. You don't
You
need another score. You know.
Right.
So that group was as tight knit and as tough and we're not going to lose as I've ever seen. So
That's terrific. That's what football's all about.
yeah. These are just some pictures of that. Probably was.
You've aged a little bit in this
Oh
one.
yeah, oh yeah. That's close. That's probably 2008 or 9, and we had a great run from 95 through 2001, and then we kind of had a little dry spell. In 2004, we won the championship, and then in 2009 and 2010, we also won the championship. So this is probably 2009. We won the South Coast Championship. And now they have the playoff system before you get to the Super Bowl. And so we went to the playoffs 2 years when we did not advance. But, you know, it's been a lot of fun.
One of those years against Somerset?
Yes, that was 2010. And Somerset had the great team and had a great first half in their Super Bowl and then just kind of ran out of gas. And
I thought you were going to
lost.
beat them opening day.
Well, you know, we really put it together. We had a younger team that year, and we really put it together. We came up 6 inches short, you know, and but it was they were on the playoff day. They were by far the better team, and they earned the victory, no doubt about it.
I know you were very gracious in your comments post game.
It wasn't too hard to be gracious. They earned it all the way.
Now we're swinging to a passionate sport
well,
for the ladies.
Yeah, I mean, I just been blessed with awesome talent. I mean, I had a girl back in the 1996, Amanda Sanson, who left me, went to Bridgewater, and for 2 of the 4 years she was there, she wasn't just the MVP of the softball team, she was the athlete of the year in the college for 2 of the 4 years. So she was outstanding, and I've had good pitching all the way. And in 2006, we were elevated to Division I in the state, even though we're not that big of a school.
Based on performance.
It was we were near the top of Division II, and there you can always petition. And there are many Division I schools, a lot of them are city schools, that really don't have a strong softball program, and they go 0-20 every year. So what they decided to do is take the teams at the top of 2, put them in 1, and slide, you know. So that we had an awesome team and made it to the state finals and lost in 9 innings to Shrewsbury 2-1. So first year in Division I. No, it was great. And the thing was, the schedule had got compacted that last week because of rain. So we ended up playing 4 softball games in the tournament in 1 week. 3 of them over extra inning games. And we had our chance, but...
Is that with the same pitcher, Dave, pitching every game?
Yeah. And I mean, there's really no wear and tear on the arm. That's when baseball people look and see, they think you're abusing, but it's a natural, your arm hangs this way all the time. I mean, there's no pressure, but as soon as you elevate your elbow above your shoulder, there's pressure put on your, so that's why baseball pitchers can't pitch every day.
But shoulders and elbows, and the curveball especially.
Exactly.
Baseball in here, of course, the shoulder.
Just throwing from shortstop and center field, just the fact that you raise your hand above your shoulder, there's pressure there. But that 2006 team, 3 kids got D1 scholarships, and they went to UConn, and she was a captain and played first base, Justine Roy, and got a full scholarship and didn't pay for her education, which is wonderful. And Jennifer Gilbert, who was the pitcher, went to Fairfield and pitched for a while, and then had an injury and was unable to pitch, but stayed with the team for 4 years. And Jen Puccini, shortstop, played for University of Maine. And they all had their educations paid for by softball. So it's wonderful. And right now I have many girls that have been in the program that are playing in college, and they're places like Hofstra, University of Delaware, University of New Haven, and so they've done very well.
We have some awards, Dave. This one as recent as last night, Sunday night.
Right. I was very proud to be honored by the Gridiron Club of Greater Boston. Every year there's a high school banquet that they sponsor, and the focus of the banquet is the all-state team. The 26 best players in the state are honored at that, and they read out the college they're going to, the awards and everything that they've won. And they also pick a coach of the year, so I was fortunate to be picked as the coach of the year for this award, and it was given out last night.
Wow, that's terrific. Congratulations.
It was great. I was totally out of the blue, and I was so proud that I got that. So
it's a first here, SATV 9, breaking the news to the community.
Yeah.
Of which you are a resident,
Yes.
long-time resident.
Yes.
Almost lifetime.
Almost.
Right.
10 years or so out in the woods of Freetown, but
okay.
Yeah.
Now
the other pictures are earlier in the season, midway through, after we defeated Wareham. It apparently was my 200th victory as a football coach. So result of that, the New England Patriots pick a coach of the year, and they selected me for that, coach of the week, for that week. and they send their liaison, Andre Tippett, who is an NFL Hall of Famer, and he came down and presented the award, and the school allowed the football team to get out of class and meet in the gym, and Andre present the award, and they all got to meet him, and it was a great thrill for the kids.
That's great.
So,
That's terrific. Well, let's see. I don't know if I think that might sum it up. The other thing would be the camp. Before we go to the baseball camp, summer camp you've been involved with, I'd like to congratulate you on the selection to be in the Massachusetts State Football Coaches Hall of Fame. That'll be coming up this April.
Yes.
So we congratulate you on that. That's
thank
a
you very
lifetime
much.
honor.
You know, I mean, you enter, you know, you start out 31 years ago, you don't know where it's going to go, but I mean, I just been so blessed and had great players and great assistant coaches, and I got a phone call in early February that said that I had been selected for the Hall of Fame, and it was just kind of just a numbing experience. I just didn't think about that, but I'm just very honored, and they have a nice banquet April 29th, and those that are chosen are inducted, and they have a few other awards they give out, so very, very happy.
And I'll be happy for you and your wife, Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa Clark, and
Yes.
her maiden name, Days.
Who's put up with me for 35
terrific
years, so
young lady.
she's a great person,
Yeah,
and she's
lovable young lady.
allowed me to coach and be away a lot and give to the the football and softball communities that I coach. So that's been great.
One final thing, the
Sure.
summer camp that you've been involved with for
Sure.
30 plus years.
Coach Jim Sullivan started Bay State camp, Bay State baseball camp, run at UMass Dartmouth 32 years ago, and Coach Sullivan passed away a number of years ago, so his son Brian and I have kept it alive, and it's going to be the third week in July this year at UMass Dartmouth, and it's a full-day camp, and we've had just tremendous kids go through over the years. They've all had a great experience. We also have a hitting camp in March that we will also run at Durfee just before the baseball season starts, March 17th and 18th. So.
Wow, that's terrific. Dave,
Yes.
it's been great having you.
Yes.
For you and for me, we say goodbye to the audience and thank them for viewing, as we both will be rounding third and heading home.
Oh,
Thank you, Dave. You've been terrific.
It's been a great pleasure to be with my old mentor. Thank you
Thanks.
very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.